You are now tuned in to the Windy City Benders podcast. This is WCBP.
It's another edition of the Windy City Benders podcast, episode 103, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
We haven't been on for about 2 weeks. Just a little too much going on, so we kind of took a breather. So in order to make up for that, we figured we would get a special guest.
Yeah, man. It's me.
Yeah, Tanner. Tanner's the guy. No,
yeah. It's just another goalie. Just another goalie.
We got ourselves another goalie. Might have heard of him. 2015 Stanley Cup champion. Not a big deal. Big game. Game one of the entire playoffs. Not a big deal. Grew up in Chicago. Not a big deal. The one and only Scott Darling joined the show, and he was fucking great.
Yeah.
He
had a nice little chat with him.
Yeah, it was one of those that like I planned questions, but once we got going, it was very easy to forget what we wanted to do and just
it was just shooting the shit, really.
Yeah, just shooting the shit with the boys, and I fucking love it. So yeah, that's definitely a great interview. One of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I mean, had a good time. So what's up?
Yeah, so
it's all cool.
There's not really much going on hockey wise.
Yeah.
They just did not, players, they enter phase 2, so there's small groups, practicing again.
Practicing at Fifth Third Arena. Have you seen any of the posts from the Blackhawks on Instagram or anything? It's just them basically walking into the rig from the parking lot. So
then they also announced phase 3 would take place is July 10th. That would be the start of training camp, but that's not official. They still haven't gone to a player vote yet if this is even going to be a thing.
Yeah, they haven't even locked down locations.
Yeah, there's rumor Vegas is going to be one, Edmonton's going to be the other, but there's a whole blah blah blah. So not really
Vegas makes sense just because it's already open, so
everything's there.
Yeah.
So we're not going to waste too much time talking about the other stuff going on right now when there's very little. So we're going to send it right over to Darling.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, pause it. Well, no, play it on here, but also pause it. Go to YouTube because we actually had him on video too. So it was kind of cool. You'll get to see the video of us talking. He showed us around his man cave a little bit and his setup with all of his pads and everything, which is really cool. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, here we go.
So today we are joined by a hometown hero. He is a 2015 Stanley Cup champion. Please welcome to the show, goaltender Scott Darling. Scott, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having me, fellas.
Oh, thanks for coming on. How are you holding up with quarantine and all that?
Quarantine, it's okay. I joke I was born to quarantine. I just love like TV and movies. I love hanging out with my dog. So, and my fiance she's a nurse who tests COVID patients. So I joke we're double quarantine because like we don't go around anybody. But yeah, she finally stopped because we're about to get married, even though we had to cancel our wedding. So we had to call an audible, and we're like renting an RV, and we're eloping in Montana. So now we're like a little bit safer, like be around our friends because she stopped doing that because of the wedding that's coming up.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, I know it can be like pretty lonely if you have to remain in quarantine, let alone double quarantine. It's,
double quarantine.
I mean, like you said, you love movies, you love hanging out. Maybe you're like, secretly, this is probably the best thing that could happen to me right now.
I'm good, man. I got my TVs and my dog, and I'm good.
Well, you got a big dog too, don't you?
Yeah, I have a Great Dane. He's Moose is 170 pounds.
Jesus.
And then we just did what everyone else in quarantine did. We just bought another dog.
Okay.
Another Great Dane. His name is Gary. He's about 9 pounds right now. Is
he like just born Great Dane?
Yeah, like we get him in 4 weeks.
Oh wow! I'm sure he's probably the size of a small dog already, rather than like a puppy.
Yeah, like I mean, when we got Moose, he was 10 weeks. He was like 16 pounds, and they grow so fast. It's incredible. So Gary is 5 weeks right now, and we can get him when he's 8 weeks. and he's going to be massive. Like, I think he'll be like 210, 215 pounds. So
God,
I'm excited. I love my dog, and I'm excited to have another one.
Yeah, man. I don't know how you do that.
Do you feel like you just have to get a Great Dane because you're like such a large guy too? You just like need a big dog alongside you.
Just like me, they're so big, like dorky and lazy. We get along great. Mildly clumsy, you know, and we get along great. All bark, no bite. Like, so I love Moose, and like I said, Gary is new little brother. I'm pumped to get him.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, let's move on to a little hockey talk here. So first question, we've been having a lot of goalies on recently. So I'm a forward, Tanner's a goalie himself.
Yeah.
So I always like to get into like the mindset of the goalies. Like, what drove you to play goalie? Like, because I mean, it takes this very special person to volunteer to sit in front of that net. Was there like always the plan to be a goalie, or was it just kind of like a lucky draw?
Well, yeah, you look back at it, terrible decision to be a goalie.
But I mean, yours worked out pretty well, though, so
yeah,
got to win Stanley Cup.
I have complaints, but I joke that when I stop playing, I'm never going to play goalie again. I'm going to be a forward, just like cherry picking, shooting high. But when I was a kid, my dad was a goalie, so I used to watch him play men's league, and so I watched him a lot, and then I got really drawn to the gear. And then I sucked at forward. I played forward until I was 5, and then they're like, "Nah, you can go in the net." And I was like, okay, and I kind of found my spot in the net, and I haven't left it ever since.
So you were forced to play goalie, basically.
Yeah, we were on one of those teams where like you traded who played goalie, and then they put in net, and they're like, "You can just stay there." And
you just had the team equipment, and you're like, "Well, this is mine now, apparently, huh?"
Yeah. I can serve the team better at age 5, just sitting here like picking boogers.
And you played in like the Chicagoland area, right? You played in the minor hockey here. I'm curious.
Second grade, yeah.
I'm curious if I ever played against you because I'm also in '89 and I grew up playing on like the Chicago Blues. And like when I first started, it was on like the Eagles, and like then they folded and became the Chicago Blues. And then it was just like, I'm curious because like it said you played for the Huskies and you played for the Vikings.
So I played for the Vikings in second grade, but I played like my age group was like Mite AA or whatever it was. And the Huskies I played up a year, and then TI and CYA I played the '88 birth year. So I was probably like just like a year in front of you the whole time.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
it would have been so cool though. I was kind of put myself up. I was like, maybe I did play against him. That would have been amazing.
Probably woke up on me one time.
That'd be so cool.
So did you kind of get looked at from like your time playing in Illinois? Because I mean, growing up, like the time like we all grew up playing Illinois hockey, it really wasn't where it's at now. It was kind of like almost like a joke around the country kind of thing. Like, was it here that you got recognized, or was it when you moved on somewhere else?
No, I left early, man. I went to boarding school in 8th grade up in Saskatchewan. And then I came back for a year, played CYA my freshman year of high school. And then I got like drafted in the juniors. So I played junior B in the Quad Cities my sophomore year, played in the NAHL Mason City my junior year, started my senior year, and then Eastern Junior League in Albany, New York my senior year. And that's where I got noticed when I was in New York. And that's where I got my scholarship, and that's the league I got drafted out.
Did you think that like when you got like noticed for the scholarship, were you like, well, this is just another step, like you can feel the wheels turning, like you were going to make it to the show?
No.
All right, super honest.
I hadn't talked to like a single college team because I always wanted to play in the Midwest. I know Illinois doesn't have a team, but I'm a Badgers fan, a Michigan fan, North Dakota. I wanted to play somewhere around here, but I got noticed when I was out east. And so it all happened super fast. Like RPI talked to me, then Maine talked to me, then every school on the East Coast talked to me. Because in that league, you do like showcases every weekend. So like every team plays at one rink and all the scouts go to see them all play. So it's like, easier for the scouts. And at that time, Maine was the top team in the country with the history of goaltenders that they had. Ben Bishop was playing there, Jimmy Howard, all those guys. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me, and I committed there right away. And then at the end of that season is when I got drafted by Arizona.
When what did you have that moment, that aha moment, like you're like, okay, I can really, make a career out of this, I can really, like, take myself to that level? Or is
Not
just
until I was like 24.
that's 24?
Were you more like in the sense of just like how I would feel is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this is pretty cool though. Like
You read about it, but like my realistic, like tangible goal my whole life was D1 hockey. Like I wanted to play D1, and everybody wants to, and that was enough for me to strive for. And then you get out. I only played 2 years in Maine. I didn't get signed by Phoenix, and then it's like, okay, well, I don't have a college degree, so I'm just going to keep trying to play hockey and like earn a living. And I did that, and like I just chipped away at it, and like it didn't become like a real thought of mine until I had a full season in the AHL with Milwaukee in 13-14. Then I was like, because I started to watch my teammates go up, and like watch guys come back and like who just played in the NHL. I'm like, oh, we're all on the same ice. Like this is possible. I was always worried about going back down.
Yeah.
And then I had a good season, and that's when it like came real for me. Like I was like, this could happen, and that's when I signed with the Hawks after that season.
So yeah, you had that unreal season with Milwaukee. Like you were talking about 13-6-2 with like a .933 save percentage. So going into
look, you have the stats pulled up in front of you or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Going into that off season, was there like rumblings that you had a shot at an NHL contract, or was it kind of like a surprise when the Hawks gave you that call?
I mean, it was a surprise that the Hawks did. I had offers from about 4 other teams. And I was like in the Nashville system playing for Milwaukee, so I was hoping Nashville would sign me, and they didn't offer me. And then out of the blue, my agent calls me. He's like, "Yeah, the Hawks won't offer you 2-way." And I was like, "Fuck everyone else. Sign it right now. Forge my name so that we get this done." But yeah, I was so excited because, as you guys know, I'm from here. I love the Hawks. Still love the Hawks. Like everything else just went out the window.
It was like you liked Eddie Belfour when you were growing up, right?
Yeah.
Did he influence you at all when you were growing up playing hockey? And like, was that like part of like, oh, cool, I get to play goalie? Or was it just like, yeah, he's awesome and I like playing goalie? Like,
yeah, I mean, cool. my dad was a big goalie like fanatic too, and like he loved Esposito, and like we watched all the Hawks games. So Belfour was my guy, and I love watching all of Kolzig play too. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like style wise because like it's different eras, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And Eddie is a little bit feistier than I am. So I didn't really like emulate him in that way, but I loved his competitiveness and just like his like fierce approach to the game. And as a Hawks fan, he was the guy when I was growing up. So I just like worshiped him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I really enjoyed was just the fact that like he made it his net. He's like, I'm not giving this up to anybody. It's like, you have to take this from me. Like, this is mine. And like, it kind of seemed like that's how you were once you got the shot to play. Once like Crawford went down during that season and Ronta was the backup, and then you guys split time, and you just came out of nowhere, just like fucking so like just everybody had to like respect what you could do.
Yeah, I was kind of I was like that. I'd say until I was full-time Corey's backup, like through the minors. Like I'm still great friends with a lot of the goalies that I played with, but I didn't give 2 shits if I took their job or like ruined their careers or whatever. However it played out, like I was climbing, but when I got there to be Corey's backup, it's like you're at the peak, so you just want to. There's nowhere left to like climb to, so you just want to be the best you can be for the team. And if my role is to be the backup, I'm going to support Corey like so much. It's not like when you're in the A, you have to leapfrog the guy to get to the next level. It's not like that once you're at the top level. But I can, maybe there was a little Ed Belfour chip on my shoulder, like through the minors. Cause like I said, I'm great friends with like pretty much every goalie I played with along the way, played with for a lot of teams, but going up, like I didn't give a shit. I was like, sorry, sorry for taking the job.
Same feeling. It was just like, I'm going to start every game. I never want to come out of the net. I want to make sure that we're winning, and it's because of me. Like that's the feeling you want to have, and it's great.
We had him on the show a couple weeks ago, actually, and what you said, he didn't say it the same way you said it, but just that mindset that he had going into there, it's so crazy just hearing like some of the best goalies have that just fuck you, I'm doing this. This is my spot. And then you had that extra drive be playing for your childhood team too. That had to be like a nice little bonus on that too.
I'd say more than a nice little bonus. I mean, it's like Disney shit, you know, like having that be the team I signed with. First year we win the whole thing. I actually like squeak in a couple games in the beginning, and like, you know, you couldn't write a script better, in my opinion. And like, that's why I'm just like, still to this day, I can die a happy man. I got to play for my favorite team. We won a cup. Best years of my life. And I'm just pumped I got to be a part of it. They're airing all the games right now on TV.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them.
5-year anniversary. There you go. Wait, is it?
I watched the first 3 games. I've never seen them, like the actual broadcast. Like,
Really?
I've seen like my video, like the clips of the saves and stuff, but I've never watched the game like as a spectator would. So it's been pretty crazy to watch. It's been fun to kind of like reminisce about it.
Is that what you're kind of spending your time doing now that you have like all the time in the world, just kind of going back and reminiscing on the championship days right now?
Yeah, I turn off whatever show I'm binging for 2 hours every night to reminisce about the glory days.
So since you brought up the replay, do you guys have like a group chat or something that you guys like throw stuff back and forth, like maybe chirping, you know, back and forth about it at all?
We don't have a group chat, but like I'm still tight with a bunch of the guys, and like the guys who are still playing for the team probably aren't watching this.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of us, we like throw digs at each other, and most of them don't live in Chicago, so they can't even see it. So I'll like send them a picture or something and be like, Rundy, you fucked up on that one, or like, like, you know, remember when you used to be bad at hockey, like just like but yeah, no one else can see it because it's only on the Chicago broadcast.
Yeah, it's on the Comcast. Isn't today's the 5th anniversary of the parade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was a decent day. Yeah, it was super cool, and for me, it's, you know, a little extra cool because, again, Hawks fan. You know, my family got to come on the bus with us and like have the experience, and my entire family was at the parade as a fan. I wasn't there, but they were there like in the crowd for the other 2, and so the third one we all got to like get on the bus and like, do the thing, and you know, so it was a pretty special memory for my entire family.
Can't imagine. like just watching the parade 2 years and then just being like, hey, now we're in it. That's fantastic.
So going back to like, you know, you signed with the Hawks when you came in, was there a certain like guy that you kind of like drew yourself to kind of like show you the ropes about, you know, being in the NHL, or was it kind of like, or was there any guy that kind of surprised you a little bit about how they were from what you know, kind of hear about stories?
I would say Corey surprised me a lot. Because he comes off to the fan as like very dry and quiet, you know, like when he does his interviews, but he's like the nicest guy in the world and like very caring. Like even my first training camp, like he knew I was scared shitless. It was like, you know, everyone did. I tried to play it cool, but you know, so he like took me under his wing, and like even though I wasn't supposed to be his backup, like I knew I was going to Rockford. And then Michael Leighton was there too, and he kind of took me under his wing when we were in Rockford. Because he'd been playing pro for 12, 13 years at that point. But yeah, once I got up with pro, like no better mentor. Like he was awesome. Like, and he has a great like mental aspect to the game. Because like me, I'm kind of high strung about playing, and like I get stressed out, and like it can affect how you play, how you sleep, how you prepare. And he's like the opposite, and that's why he's so good. So that kind of rubbed off on me. And we had just a great working relationship the whole time I was there.
How did that, like, you know, really affect you though, that playoff series when you kind of you took the crease from him, and then you go on and do just great. You made records, you know, longest like relief appearance without a goal, most saves without a goal, relief appearance, and was he?
Watch the one that airs tonight and let me know how you feel about it. Get about 15 minutes. No, it was weird for me to like step in front of like one of my heroes, you know?
Yeah.
And so if anything, I was more insecure that he was going to like be mad at me, and like, you know, but he handled it great. And, you know, when he took the net back, he killed it. And obviously we all know the outcome. So for me, I was just happy that I contributed, like, you know, it's still my like claim to fame in Chicago. It's like when people see me, they're like, "Oh, Nashville." Like, I know. And like, it's 5 years later. It's been happening for 5 years. Like,
Yeah.
So.
I think that toe save you had in Game 1 was probably one of the most iconic saves of that entire year, let alone, like, I think the decade maybe for, like, the Hawks playoffs, which is just insane. I remember watching that and just being like, what the fuck, how'd that happen? Like,
I remember the next year when we were playing the Preds, and I'm friends with Carter Hutton, and he was doing, like, his goalie, like, warm-up before they had their practice, and he saw me standing on the bench, and he just, like, mimicked it. You know, I was like, oh, that's cool. Their goalie remembers that save.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I mean, that's for me. That's like, you know, other than like winning and being part of that team, like that, like one save, it's like my peak of my career. So
of your goaltending.
Yeah.
Was there anybody on that Nashville team that was on the Milwaukee Admirals with you the year previous that you were like?
Philip,
no?
Him and I lived in a hotel room together the entire season the year before.
Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
So we're great friends, still are friends. He scored a hat trick on me in Game 5, and he'll never let me forget it. So many guys like Cal Yarncroc, Colton Sissons. There was like 6 or 7 guys on that team that I played with the year before. So it was kind of fun, like competitive in that way.
Yeah,
so, like,
get to talk a little shit to people you know, like, pretty well.
Yeah, and then kind of, you know, like peacock a little bit when you're going through the handshake. Well,
Could you show him your ring when you were all done?
No.
Just a little group chat, like just photo or send it right over to the Nashville guys. Oh, that's fantastic though. Oh. So what was it? I mean, clearly it's all crazy, but like, what's it like being called up and then Coach Q giving you the green light to go in net, and you're like, oh shit, all right, here we go.
Like for that game?
Oh no, I'm just talking about during the season, before even the playoffs happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wish I was wearing a diaper when he told me that. Because like he had just played a game and we were getting on the plane for a back-to-back. So you have to walk by the coaches to go back to like where we sit. And he just, you know, in classic Q voice, he's like, "You're going." You're going. I was like, I just kept walking, and everyone saw me. Deer in the headlights, and I just like went back to my seat and just like sweat the rest of the flight. And I was like, "Oh my god, I'm actually gonna play tomorrow." Because we were flying back. I forget where we played the night before, but we were flying back to play that first game against Ottawa. And yeah, I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was a wreck the whole time. And I like told the important people in my life that I was going to play tomorrow. Then I just turned my phone off.
Just too many texts to be fluttering in.
Well, once they announced it, it's like everyone I've ever known from Chicago and like all my friends are going to like be texting me. So I told everyone important. Then I was like, I'll see you after the game. Turn the phone off.
Did you get to bring any family out to Ottawa for that game?
It was at home.
It was at home. Okay, that's why. All right.
Yeah.
So some family get to come out and see the game for you.
Yeah, they all came.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it was a night I'll never forget.
So
Yeah.
I mean, with that game too, I mean, you've had a lot of like kind of like first and accomplishments, you know, with playing that.
I have some weird records.
Yeah, so playing that, by playing in that game, you're the first SPHL player to ever play in the NHL.
Sure.
So, like, do you take any pride in that? Like, I mean, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm the poster boy for the SPHL, so that's good. I don't see any checks for that, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. The story's cool, you know, like the way it all worked out, even to this day, like I wouldn't change a thing. I loved my journey, like playing the minors, playing all these different places. Like I've met so many people, so many great teammates, so many people I'm friends with to this day that I might have played 30 games with in Wheeling or played 10 games with for this team, like whatever it is. If it didn't work out the way it did, I might not be saying that, but it did. So I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing. But yeah, and then like first goalie to win their home debut since Belfour. Cool.
Not too bad.
Good company.
Only time 2 Chicagoland goaltenders have squared off at the UC, me and Craig Anderson, my first game.
Okay. That's a fun one.
Weird little stuff like that.
First Chicago-born player to win the Stanley Cup as a member of the Blackhawks. Like that right there would probably be like would go on like my tombstone. Like,
yeah. Like I said, like that stuff. Like I'm so grateful for it. And like I still can't believe all of it happened. You know what I mean? And so, very grateful and very happy for the memories that I created playing here. And it's kind of the lifelong things that like will never be taken away from you.
Yeah, of course.
So jealous.
Yeah.
Just so
like
jealous.
you legitimately live. Yeah.
Just like every Chicago kid's dream is to grow up and play for the Blackhawks.
Cup stuff.
Oh, you got to keep all your stuff? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, but I didn't know you'd have it right there for you. That stuff is so nice.
The bike's in the way, but I kept everything, man. I hoarded everything.
So you show the pads. Oh, we have a good friend, like good buddy of ours, is a big gear guy. So he's like, he loves your style of pads and all that. Like, do you have like a goalie that was like an inspiration, or you just kind of like go on your own and just like draw stuff up yourself?
Yeah, I kind of go on my own. I don't know why everyone wears white gear to make it look bigger or whatever, but like I'm big enough. So I take pride in like creating different like pads, and I like dark colors and like stuff like that. And I've always taken pride in making the mask. Like I have every mask I ever had, like here in my basement. And then the equipment company that I work with, Brian's like the guy who does the gear, is like ultra creative. So we never got a hard time like making something unique.
Just spitting ideas off of each other.
Yeah. And I mean, as a gear whore, like I am, that was one of the best parts about the NHL. Like when I was with the Blackhawks, like no limits. I could get new pads every month if I wanted to. Like you get new helmets every month, like whatever. Did the Blackhawks do it right, man? Like first class everything. So yeah, I had to like tone it back because I was like, I would get new pads every week.
Yeah, get some home, get some away pads. Maybe if there's a third ever, like just get some thirds. Just switching it up,
I literally had to sell because, like I said, I kept all my gear, all my helmets for probably the last 8 years, maybe. I literally had to get rid of it recently because I just didn't have enough room for it in my house.
I was gonna say it probably fills up your man cave there.
Yes, I kept a lot of pads and they lined like the walls on the bottom, but I gave them all to my buddy. I gave him like, my buddy Carp. I gave him like 5 sets of pads and like 50 pairs of gloves, and I was like, take these and you can sell them, whatever, to get them out of my house. So, like I don't have room for this stuff anymore.
I saw him post on like the goalie like union page on Facebook, and I'm like, he's got the good hookup there.
Not too shabby.
Did you have
game worn stuff?
You got a favorite set of pads? Like I know personally, my favorite was like the sock design, like just so simple, but
those are nice,
so good.
With the Hawks, I like the red and white sock graphic. I mean, my favorite all time is my USA one.
Yeah, those are.
Like I said, I don't know if you see. I got my new hobby in the way of this piano. That's all my USA stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
You see the Whalers pads there.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite set of all time is the USA stuff, and obviously the championship stuff was like.
Yeah, the United States flag does itself or lends itself very well to making some nice pads.
Yeah.
Stars and stripes, oof, so nice.
Yeah. So speaking of Team USA, how was it playing for that World Championship in 2018?
That was so much fun. I'm a huge patriot. Like my dad was in the Army. Like grew up always wanting to play for Team USA. As you can see, I'm still cutting the cords.
Yeah.
But it was such a good group, and you get to meet all these guys from other teams coming together, and where we were was kind of shitty, the town we were in, but we had so much fun as a group. And there's Kaner was the captain, and that was awesome. A couple Hawks guys there, but then you get to meet other guys. You can meet Goodrow, Larkin, all these guys, and you're there for so long. I'm great friends with Blake Coleman. I was at his wedding like last summer, like all this stuff.
Nice.
But it was just the experience, and like representing your country was like really cool for me. And then I'm a big like travel junkie too, so it was fun to go to Denmark. And then you're allowed to bring like your fiance or wife over, so she came over and we stuck around, like did like a Euro tour after. So overall, I mean, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had.
You did something too with like in Australia, like a couple years before,
Austria.
right? No.
No, I did Australia too.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was like
okay.
like a Wayne Gretzky, something with Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, it was like a charity.
Oh, I kind of remember that now. Yeah.
And that was freaking sweet, man. It was like a free trip to go down to Australia for 2 weeks, and I played like 3 games. They make like a Canadian and U.S. team, and then 3 games in 2 weeks, and the rest is just like a vacation.
That's
Just hanging out in Australia.
Yeah, and then I stuck around and like went to New Zealand for 2 weeks, and that was super cool too. I was gonna do it again this year. I was supposed to be in New Zealand right now.
Oh shit!
But I got Rona. But
That's the worst.
But I told the guy, I was like, I would do that any year because it was so much fun. And the guys who play in the NHL, they roll out the red carpet, like, nice hotel rooms, first class seats, and like it was a great time. I had a blast doing that. I would do that anytime.
It's just like a grow the game type of thing, right? Like just kind of display.
Okay, so it's through the NHL. Like everything's covered from them.
No, it's just like this guy. I don't know who, like, his name's Kerry Goulet. He sets it all up, and it's just like sponsored by like Air Canada and a bunch of companies.
Oh, okay.
They raise money for concussion research. And so,
nice.
Like these games, like we're talking 20,000 fans, like at these games, like
Holy shit!
So like they're raising money doing it, and like we don't get paid, but it all gets paid for. So it's kind of a sick trade-off if you like to travel, just go down and see somewhere cool. Like I said, we were supposed to do 4 games just in New Zealand this year. I would have been there right now, but obviously the state of the world.
Yeah.
Man,
speaking of let's just talk about it. Speaking of the state of the world, like, how are you? Like, how was everything when it stopped for you? Like, it just seemed so surreal, right? Like,
yeah. And I always tell people I'm like extra over it because where I was playing this year in Austria, we were 20 minutes from northern Italy, which is where it popped off in January. So I've been dealing with shit forever.
Oh yeah, basically all of 2020 then. Yeah.
Well, legit, because I got home on March 4th, and then that's right when everyone started panicking here. And so I'm like, I've been dealing with this shit for 2 years. And now, 6 months into the Rona, and I'm just like, and plus, like I said, my fiance is a COVID nurse, and it's like, fuck, go away, like, it's been half a year.
Just need to redo it.
What was your your experience in Austria before that? How was it? Like good times or?
Yeah, it was awesome. Austria is like a hidden gem, man. It's like one of the most beautiful countries that people don't really think of when they think about traveling. Like I lived like in the valley of the Austrian Alps. Like it was awesome. I mean, my team was good, but we had like major injury issues with our imports. So like my first 20 games, like 8 of our imports were hurt, and we just got shit kicked every night. So that wasn't fun. So the hockey part wasn't ideal, but the guys were great. Made a lot of friends, but just like have an off day, I'm going to go down to Italy for lunch, or have an off day, I'm going to drive up to Germany for lunch. Like we were in a pretty cool location where you could take day trips to 3 different countries.
That's awesome.
And then in the league, you're playing the Czech Republic, you're playing in Hungary. So you get to see all this stuff. And like I said, I'm a travel nerd. So it was cool.
It's pretty awesome. Did you end up like renting a place, or did they have a place set up for you?
No, they had an apartment for me. They give you a car.
Oh, nice.
I learned how to drive stick, which as a 30-year-old, I maybe should have known how to do that.
I don't know how to do it. I'm 30 as well. So.
So I learned how to drive stick, ate a lot of schnitzel. It was fun. It was super unique. Like, but it is funny. Like the hockey part too. Like you're traveling day up to a game. So like you're leaving at 9 a.m. You're riding the bus for 7 hours. You're getting off and playing a game. Like that was new.
Yeah.
So like, in the U.S., you always show up the night before, and then you get on the bus after the game, drive 7 hours back. You're home at 5 a.m. It's like, and they're a little more diehard. Like we didn't really have like that many days off. Like in the U.S., there are rules. You have to have X amount of days off a month, stuff like that. But overall, it was great. I'm not planning on going back, but I'm very happy I went.
Nice. Do you have any plans for what you're gonna do? Are you gonna maybe try and do something else in Europe? Or are you gonna try and stay here, maybe do something?
Ideally, I want to stay here because I'm getting married. I'm getting another dog, and like I said, being home has been great. I love Chicago. We bought our place a year and a half ago, and like finally finished like renovations and stuff like that. And it's just nice to be home. So ideally, I'm going to stay here, but because of the state of the world, they're worried about other stuff right now. They're not worried about signing a goalie.
Yeah.
And so I have a few offers in Europe right now that I'm saying no to. And then if nothing comes up good here, I'll probably do the same thing and go overseas in like November like I did last year.
Kind of hold out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's good.
Speaking of like how things are going here, what is your opinion of this whole 24 team absolute mayhem that potentially is going to happen?
Like have they even finalized the voting for the players and stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and they haven't named the cities, right? Or
No, they haven't.
I've heard it's Vegas and Edmonton.
Those are like I think the front runners right now. I think they're waiting to see if Canada's going to allow it because Canada I don't even think has gone to their phase 2 yet.
Yeah, their borders are.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be iffy there, but I think Vegas is a for sure if it happens.
If one country would let it slide, though, it would be Canada let the hockey boys in.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, I mean, I hope they can do it. It's like, I miss watching, and the format's crazy, but it's crazy times. They're doing the best they can to, like, figure out a way to finish the season. You don't want, like, an empty square in the Stanley Cup. So I'm happy the Hawks squeaked in.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I hope they can figure it out. From what I know, that people are getting too excited because the players haven't even agreed to do it yet. So, I told my agent if they need any scab players, like, give me a call.
Hey, I'll suit up. I don't care. I'll just go open the door, like pass out some water bottles. It's fine. Like
that's what I did.
All about it.
Years. It's the best job ever.
Oh, I love it, man. Who did you have I mean, I'm assuming you were following the NHL while you were over in Austria, yeah?
A little bit.
A little bit. Did you have any like team that was probably going to be like you think is going to be the favorite to win it all?
I mean Tampa. They're always the favorite though. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think the Corona might have helped the Hawks.
Yeah, I got some guys that aren't hurt anymore.
Pull through here, like I don't know. I was talking to my buddy about it the other day. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a run and just took it all.
Firsthand, playoff Kane, Taves, Crawford. Yeah. Those are guys you don't take lightly. Like it's a completely
season who won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
So
Kane's walking in a fifth third with what looks like the playoff mullet again. Like, I mean, the rest of the league's got to be scared a little bit.
I know. I never sleep on the Hawks.
I love the fact that they switched it from a best of 3 to a best of 5 just because, like, Pittsburgh was afraid of Carey Price and Edmonton's a little bit scared of playoff Kane. And you're just like, feels good.
Well, you need to go 5, man. It's like a goalie gets hot for just 2 games. It's like, it's over. Crow throws 2 shutouts. It's over. It doesn't matter how the team plays. Like 5 games is a little bit harder, but best of 3, I don't know. One player could like win that series.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting time to watch, and I hope it happens sooner than later, or just happens at all, really.
Yeah, me too. I'm a sports. Yeah. I need this to work, and if the NFL doesn't come back, I'm gonna die.
That's
yeah, man. Like
weirdest time of day is like streaming the Bears games, like freaking out because there's like an 8-hour time change.
Oh, geez. Yeah. What time do you like? Is it 8 hours earlier or later?
Later.
It's later. Oh, so like
So like
a noon game, is it like 8 p.m. for you?
Noon or 2 or something, but I would literally watch it at 3 in the morning if they played like a 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock game.
Oh God.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You don't just got like a DVR, just DVR, man. Just watch it the next day.
DVR and Austria, come on. They might have it, but not in my apartment.
Okay. I was like, hey, you know what? I just caught this great business idea. Bring DVR to Austria, and then boom.
I'm sure they have it. I didn't.
Uh,
And I didn't speak good enough German to know how to get it. So
you got to play under Coach Q. I love asking all the Hawks that come on, any good Q stories or what was it like playing under him, because he seems like he's a big players guy.
yeah, I mean, Q's the man. Like, even post Hawks, like we still talk. And he was great to me, and like I don't know what it was, but he liked me from day one. He liked me from training camp day one. I think I made my mark the first day with my fitness testing. Like goalies usually don't test high, but I was like in the top of the entire camp, and so I kind of like stuck out. And then so I think he started to watch me more than you would watch like your 4th string goalie or 5th string goalie. And yeah, I mean, from then on, he was like my biggest advocate, and he's a big reason why I got my opportunities, and then I did my job and made the most of them. And he was great to me the whole time I was there, and even put me in and sticking with me in the first round. A lot of coaches wouldn't do that, but he trusted me. And then after we win, 10 minutes after we win, he comes up to me and tells me like, "Don't forget, this is like you helped us do this," and just stuff like that you'll never forget. And then just like the shitty, like the funny stuff, like calls you into the office. He's like chewing on a cigar, and he's like, end of the year meetings. He's like, Daryl's had no problems with you this season. Okay, see you next year.
Cool. I have no problems with you either, Coach. Thanks.
Better than the opposite. So, but yeah, I mean, even just little stuff like last year, I needed help kind of deciding where I was going to play, and I'm texting with him, and he's helping me, communicate with people who are overseas and stuff like that. So he's just a great guy. He's always great to me. And we had a great relationship.
Yeah, I wish his story would end a little bit better out here. I wish he had kind of feel like he didn't get really – he was the kind of guy that I thought earned the right to go off his way, and I won't get too much into that. We'll just say that.
It's touchy.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything, but I would have to see it happen. But yeah. I have heard the guys love the new coach. So
he seems
good.
great. Man. I know personally, I feel for him. I feel like he just got thrown into a little wrong situation a little too early, maybe. But I think he's going to be a great coach, whether it's with Chicago or wherever he lands. But
it's just, how do you follow Coach Q?
Yeah.
I mean, those are some that needs to fill. It's like, how do you fill that shoe?
Like what he's considered probably the second best coach of all time behind Scotty Bowman, and it's just like, hey Carlton, you're up, bud.
You're younger than some of your players. Go get them.
Oh man.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. We don't want to take too much of your time. One last question that we ask all our guests that come on. We're going to modify a little bit for you because I think we might know it.
It's pretty easy.
Yeah. Your favorite hockey memory. We're taking away 2015. So
entire year?
Yeah, the entire – well, no, we'll take away winning the cup. We'll take that away.
Well, then it's easy, my first game. But that's in 2014, so loophole.
There you go. The first game, yeah.
First game, my first game and winning are easily my two. And, I mean, I have little ones too. Like, my first shutout was in Madison Square Garden. Like, that was super cool. Yeah, I'd say those are, like, my top three. But, yeah, the first game would be my number one other than winning the cup.
Oh, yeah.
I got a random question, actually. It just popped in my head because I was just thinking about it. When you were a kid and you first started playing goalie, because this is kind of the thing that I also thought about too, was there ever a time where you made a save and you're like, holy shit, I fucking nailed it, and it's just like all clicked from there?
No.
No? It's just, yeah, never mind.
It wasn't that good, man. I wasn't that good until I hit my growth spurt. I got even worse. And I wouldn't say it was like one thing that clicked, but like one day when I was my senior year of high school, like one day my coordination came back. Because I grew up very, very tall, very fast. I grew like 9 inches in like less than a year.
Oh, wow.
And, I was like Bambi on the ice, man. I was so bad. And then I would say that one day, like my coordination came back, and then my career just like took off. And I'd say that was kind of maybe comparable. It's not a save, but like when that happened.
Yeah. But it's like it's the moment in time where you're like it all kind of clicked back together, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, let's fucking go. Like,
I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're big fans, so it means a lot to get a chance to talk to you a little bit. Maybe we get you on again with get Cody on here too. We'll go back.
Oh yeah, get Carp out here. Oh, I'm bored. I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe we get some like solid details on what the playoffs are going to happen. We get a little prediction run going. Like, let's get it.
Bring me in, man.
That'd be fucking awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Scott. Stay safe with everything, and look forward to seeing you back on the ice.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
I appreciate it, Scott.
Thank you so much again to Scott Darling for joining the show. Like I said, it was a great chat.
Man.
I do have to say, screw him. Growing up in
don't say that. He's
double
the
A
best.
hockey.
I know. He's living the dream of every double A kid that grew up in the 90s.
Going up to play for the Hawks and win the Stanley Cup. Not fucking fair, but it could happen to a nicer guy for sure.
Absolutely. It was a great conversation we had with him. I remember, like I was saying before to you, I was like, I looked down and only 15 minutes had gone by, and I was like, okay, like not too bad. And then like we just started chatting, going off, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's been like 45 minutes now. It's like didn't expect that to happen, but it was fantastic. Just a genuinely awesome dude to talk to, and I really hope we can get it back on again.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely on the list of that we want to make a multi-time guest. I think we'll get. Yeah, that was set up. I don't know. I'm
multi-time guest.
I don't know. I'm just
a repeat guest.
A repeat guest, yeah. Multi-time, whatever. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
just
friend of the show.
Running high after a fun interview. Give me a break.
Right.
So thanks to friend of the show Cody Karpinski for putting us in touch with him.
Thanks, Cody.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna try to get them both on because I think there will be some good stories between the two of them. So hope you enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to if you're watching us on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, rate the show, leave us a review. It helps us get in the charts. With our Ed Belfour interview, you guys got us all the way up to the 44th ranked hockey podcast in the United States. So keep fucking doing it, boys. Let's go.
That's not too bad.
Yeah. So, Tanner, anything you got to say?
Congrats on getting married, darling. It's just doing everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. I hope he has a fantastic weekend, and just love everybody.
Yeah. All right. So for Tanner and myself, we'll see you on the next one.
Love you guys.